Delhi, a thumping metropolis of a city, the second largest in the world, with over 36 million people in it. And at times it feels like every single one of them is on the road with you. This morning we're heading into Delhi on the last day of the ride. After overnighting last night in a suburb called Zikapur, which is part of the Chandigarh city. And the reason we stayed there was twofold. The first one was the hotel is really nice. It's probably 4.5 star by Western standards. So after 2 weeks on the road, you can have a nice, relaxing, long, hot shower and get yourself feeling good and clean, and then have a decent meal in a decent restaurant and just relax for the last night on the road. And the second reason that we stay in Zikapur is it's only a 3 to 4 hour ride from the Delhi hotel. So the idea is we leave Zikapur around about 9 a.m. with the aim of getting to the Delhi base hotel between 12 and 1 o'clock. We then dismantle the bikes, take all our gear off, and then drop them back to the bike shop, which is probably about a 5-minute ride from the base hotel. So everything's quite easy and convenient. When you're stuck in a traffic jam like this, there's always good to talk with the local people. And this kid in the front seat, he's the spokesman for the family, and they're asking him questions in Hindi and he's asking me the questions in English, and all good. And it's the normal questions that everyone asks anywhere in the world. Where are you from? Where have you been on the motorbike, and where are you going on the motorbike? And Mum in the back seat is asking him the questions and he's asking me the questions. And now I'm telling him we're up in the Spiti Valley for a couple of weeks and now we're heading back down to Delhi today. The traffic in Delhi is pretty crazy. Even by Asian standards, it's lots and lots of gridlock and lots of crazy stuff. And believe it or not, this is actually a good part. We're going to get into some more intense parts a bit later on this morning. And the even more intense parts we don't even ride into, which is what's called Old Delhi, and that's just crazy, insane stuff in there. Even by someone who's ridden in Asia for 30 years, it's just crazy in there. With the rising affluence in India comes the rise of the middle class, and the middle class always want to have a car rather than a motorbike. So the roads are, just way worse now than they were even 5 years ago, because the motorbikes are leaving and they're being replaced by cars, and the cars just cause the gridlock, and it's just crazy at times. A really good tip if you're going to ride into Delhi, and I know the do-gooders are going to go, don't wear your jacket. Just wear a t-shirt, take your jacket off, put it away in your bags, and just wear the t-shirt in, because it doesn't matter if you're going in at 7 in the morning or even early in the morning, it's still going to be hot, and God forbid that you come in here at 2 or 3 in the afternoon when it's anything up to 42, 43 degrees Celsius. you'd have to have rocks in your head to have any form of jacket on you. It's just crazy heat. Delhi is a mix of what you call suburban streets and expressways, and wherever possible, get yourself onto the expressways, because you can move distances a lot quicker and with a lot less stress than you can if you would what we call down below now on the street rather than up here on the expressway. The expressways come with their own set of hazards, and probably the number one hazard is that you're moving between 80 to 100 kilometres an hour, and there's still that biggest wins mentality on the expressway. So if a truck wants your spot, they'll just come on it, and you're smaller than them, so you move or you get run over. It's that simple. Of all the places in Asia, India is definitely the most brutal in terms of biggest wins. Just stretching my legs. It's the end of 16 days on the motorbike, and you tend to get a bit worn out. So every now and then just stand up and stretch your legs on the pegs. Unlike in other parts of the world, if anything's motorised, it can go on the expressways. So you can see you've got tuk-tuks, motorbikes. Thank God pedal-powered rickshaws aren't allowed on them. There's trucks, there's buses. Anything that's got a motor is allowed on the expressway. So it's still a free-for-all, and you still need to have your wits about you at all times. Especially when you're riding on the expressway, you need to check your rear views. Even if you're doing 110 kilometres an hour, there will always be someone who's coming through, just barreling through in a large luxury four-wheel drive, and they'll be doing 150, 160. So now we've left the expressway and we're into what I call the inner city suburbs, and this is fairly atypical traffic for New Delhi. Here, albeit it's probably a little bit lighter than you get later in the day. It's still relatively early, so the traffic is not super bad. When you ride in a group in the city, it's important to stay bunched up because it's so easy to get separated, and if you're separated, then it gets even more chaotic. We use Google Maps exclusively on all the BDAC group rides, and the reason for that is that we can update them in real time. If there's a major traffic accident and a road's closed and Google Maps picks it up, then it will relay that to us, and then we can relay that to everyone in the group because we're all chatting on a group chat in live time while the ride's going on. I know that there are proprietary softwares out there that are good and have lots more waypoints and things than Google Maps does. But if something changes, and everything always changes on a group ride, if something changes, then with using Google Maps we can make those changes in real time, and everyone can know about those changes in real time. In terms of this part of the city, and this part of the city is what we would call our neighbourhood in terms of where the group hotel is. We're probably 1.5 kilometres away from the hotel at this point here, and we're just navigating through to get there. In this part of town, you need to be really careful when you're walking. Pedestrians are the bottom of the food chain, and they won't deliberately run you down, but their regard for you as a pedestrian is not that high, to be honest. So crossing the road, I mean, you can see there's no crosswalks, but walking across the road, whereas in other parts of Asia you're used to them going around you as you walk across or even stopping, here they won't. If they have a line, they'll just keep to that line, and if you walk in front of their line, then you better move, because otherwise you're just going to get run over. In a heavily built up urban environment like this, Google Maps can get overwhelmed and drop out. It's really predominant for that to happen in Hanoi in particular, in Vietnam, in the old quarter where it's really built up like this now. But it also happens here in Delhi, and this is what's happened here, is that Google Maps is continuously changing as to where it wants us to go. So you can see that the upside of Google Maps now is that I am reviewing in real time where it's sending us and looking at an alternative route that's going to work to get us to the hotel. So at this point, I've got it in my head that the boys' Google Maps is malfunctioning and it's not giving them. So by now we've ridden together for so long over the 2 weeks that we know that, okay, the one whose Google Maps is up and running and knows the way home, they just move to the front. And that's what I've done there. Tom and Hung have hung back and I've gone to the front, and I'll lead us into the correct way to get back to the hotel. This is actually quite quiet, this road at the moment. If you come out in the evening, it's crazy town. And right about here I realised, I know where we are, because you can see up there's a bar, and that's one of the few places that you can get ice cold beer in this part of Delhi. So obviously we have been there more than once or twice to have an ice cold beer. And at night this road is absolutely manic. At the moment it's probably running about 50% of what it does run once it starts to get towards evening and night time. As the crow flies now, we're probably 700 metres away from the base hotel. You can see that there's lots of pharmacies in Delhi. India is one of the world's largest producers of pharmaceuticals and also has the short patent system. So they produce a lot of drugs that in the West and say in the US in particular are crazy expensive. You can get very cheap in India. And hence there's lots of people who come to India from the US just to get their medications. can see here, this car just comes out. You don't ever assume, okay, I'm in the right here, he's going to stop, because they won't. They'll just come out on you. So always just be polite but firm when you're riding, and be ready to flex. So we're on the home run now, back to the hotel. And once again, this is very quiet. This is the Carolbage fashion market, and it's one of the biggest fashion outlets in Asia. So it doesn't start until the evening, and it's pretty crazy in the evenings. Lots and lots and lots of people and lots of stuff. And this is one of the cheapest places in Asia to buy clothing and footwear. You don't see very many Western tourists in this part of town, which for us is good. And we have arrived. This is the base hotel for our rides in here. So ride is over. Just going to unpack the bikes, and then we drop the bikes off, and then we are done for this trip. So all out, all back safe. A good outcome again.